This is the Union Strata. We got a couple days on this before COVID struck. But it's so similar to last year's model, we almost didn't need to. This is the 2020. This is the 2021. Flipper around. Slightly different high back. Same kind of thing going on. Very similar toe strap. Very similar ankle strap, just a little more supportive on the inside here.
I mean, this is definitely
just a little more. Feel this guy.
Gotten some.
Yeah, it's gotten a slight upgrade, just a slight
actually
bump towards the responsive side.
This feels more supportive.
Yeah, and so you got a little bit more supportive ankle strap, and
in the new one,
and feel the high back
less, but it's.
Yeah, feel the high back. It's very similar. Here, let's do a little switchy.
Very similar.
Just maybe a touch stiffer here.
But we also have like hundreds of days on that, which I don't think makes any difference.
No.
It's not like a boot.
Anyway.
It doesn't break in.
So, same base plate, same everything. I thought they had changed up the size of the base plate to be a little shorter. In comparing it, it's so... The difference is so minuscule. It doesn't even seem like there might... I can't even see a difference. It might be a millimeter or two, and that's about it. So, its base plate is very similar. You know, only real changes the high back and the ankle strap. So, getting into that, the weight feels... This binding feels very light. Light bordering on... medium light bordering on light. Very light, but not.
It was crazy even when we like compared it against like the Arbors and stuff, the ones that looked like they would be so light.
Oh, the Flux.
The Flux.
Yeah.
Well, it's practically the same binding.
Yeah, they were really close.
But they
Flux.
were really close, like within a few
ounces.
Ounces of each other.
Like 1 or 2 ounces difference in some aspect. And then we talked about the Highback Flex already. The Flex underfoot and buttering is great with this binding.
Excellent.
The only binding that we'd say in the Union line is better is the Contact Pro, because it still has that EVA foam bottom instead of this rubber bottom, and the EVA foam just bends easier.
Yeah.
Or flexes, gives easier, so it allows the board to bend easier. That's what I'm trying to say. So, still though, that mini disc, check out the bottom here, is very easy to butter with, to start with. Then you have basically rubber everywhere and no contact just outside the mini disc, and it really makes for a very good buttering experience, kind of upper tier. Not maybe the best like the Contact Pro, or like if you want to compare it to Burton Reflex.
Like EST or something.
Yeah, Reflex or EST. They're just a touch more, but it's still so good. I don't know if that would be the deal breaker.
It wouldn't.
No.
No one would be like, oh, that tiny bit of flex underfoot like is really what makes the difference. EST, if you're going in, if you already have the whole channel system and you want to go down that, you know, route, that you really, really feel the difference there, you know. But as far as every other, this is still, I would consider A tier.
Yeah.
Flex underfoot.
Agreed. And turn initiation and response. This is no slouch. It's kind of on that medium fast response zone, depending on the board. If you have a board that kind of flexes easy and allows that mini disc to twist that board and you know, really power it easy edge to edge, it's going to be pretty fast. As it gets stiffer, you might want something more powerful like the Atlas.
I call this medium. Yeah, which in no ways, I think that's a good thing.
But
you know?
I think it borders on like, it's like medium fast. And then the Cartel, I mean, the Cartel's like more like medium slow, depending on the board. Then the Atlas is like medium fast. Then you have like the Falcor, which is like definitely a step up from this.
Definitely.
And that's like medium fast, kind of in that same realm as the Atlas, and it just varies board to board which one might do more, but overall I think the Atlas is a little faster.
In my opinion, I like this more though, because I like that medium barely going into medium fast response. I would call it smooth fast.
Yes, it is. It's smooth and sharp at the same.
Smooth and sharp. Yeah.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
a good cheddar.
And shock absorption and dampness.
Out of control. It's so good. It's so much.
It doesn't have that slower speed shock absorption that the Contact Pro does, but it has that higher speed dampness that the Contact Pro doesn't. And it's just lots of kind of like rubbery kind of material throughout the entire base plate. That's great.
Yeah.
And you also have canting, so make sure you line up the disc right, because the disc
it can be really annoying if you change your binding a lot and you're always sitting there because it's such a small amount. You're like, wait, is it this way? Is it this way? Is it this way? And then I set it up, and then BC's like, you got the canting all wrong.
But what's interesting is with the Strata, I can go with a little wider stance than I can with the Contact Pro that doesn't have that canting. So
easier on the hips.
A little easier on the hips, the knees, the ankles, whatever your problem is, it might be easier for you. But depending on your surgery and your problem, it could be more difficult.
Depending on which surgery you're on.
Contact Pros. Yeah, I have one friend whose knee has a bad knee, and the canting bends his knee in the wrong way and really fucks him up, so he can never use canted bindings. So anyways, support. Like we talked about, this new ankle strap is just a little stiffer.
Feels really good.
Yeah, it's going to give you just a slight bump compared to last year's Strata. And then the Ratchet System, dude, Union's Ratchet System used to be pretty problematic like 6 years ago for Peter and myself
way more
as
than
well.
6 years ago.
Was it? God, yeah.
Yeah, when I couldn't
They finally
get the straps to unlatch for the life of me. Sometimes I'd have to have like two grown men and the jaws of life and the fire team and.
But nowadays they are almost the standard at which we judge other ratchets by. They're just so smooth and so snappy and grippy. Even brand new, it's just so easy on and off. This is two guys in a
playing
strap.
With straps.
Yeah. But anyways,
you don't want to do the other one.
If I could have just finished.
I know. I mean, they're bar none the best ratchets in the system.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
In the system?
In the.
Just thinking Ant-Man. I'm in the system? But anyways, adjustability. Let's get into all that is adjustability. These footbeds are just a touch bigger, and we touched on that, than, let's say, the Atlas. So if you're one of those people that's, like a 10.5, you can fit down into a medium here, which most 10.5s.
Really works well here at the Good Ride when we're riding with multiple riders with different size.
With our long-toed buddies.
Exactly.
But for Peter and I, it's just fine, but this feels a little big. But you can adjust the heel loop, push it all the way in, pull it all the way out. The Atlas, you can adjust the toe ramp, the gas pedal, and the heel cup. With this, you can only adjust the heel loop. But it helps you size up pretty well so you can fit your boot centered in this binding. And then, therefore, center it on your board. You've got, toolless ankle and toe strap adjustability. It's not the fastest in the industry, but you don't need a tool, so it can be done.
But it is very secure.
It is secure.
Locked in.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah.
And another cool thing with, like all Union bindings, you can pop this down and pop it up, so into a different place and get a different angle.
Get a different angle on your toe.
Yeah, if you're on the bigger side, you put it forward. If you're on the smaller side, you put it back.
And the
Atlas has two on each side. This only has two on one side and one on the other. It used to. Oh no, it's two.
It's 2 and 2.
No, 2 and 1. 2 and 1.
Oh.
One this side, two that side.
Yeah, you don't need 2 and 2.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's enough. It's enough. And then there's
Gives you a different angle on the dangle.
there's 2 holes on each side for high back rotation in the inside here.
I showed them that.
Oh, okay. And then you have the heel cup in case you're on that, if you want to do it that way, but do it on the inside. That way you can get your heel cup perfectly dialed. And then you've got some forward lean. They went from this weird like proprietary thing to just an old screw. I don't know why they just don't use what they had on the Atlas, the little flip and rise. But
This thing doesn't just flip around?
no, you have to get a screwdriver.
Okay, that's kind of annoying.
Yeah, super annoying. I don't get it. But let's just say that most people adjust their forward lean once and forget about it. So who really cares?
Yeah.
That's not something I'm that concerned about. It might be frustrating your first day when you're dialing out the forward lean you want with this binding, but then after that you'll forget about it.
That might be a complete deal breaker for you.
If that first day needs to be perfect,
Yeah.
deal breaker.
And you can't find a screwdriver anywhere?
Yeah. In terms of stance width, you have this nice little mini disc, and if you get this dialed out, your boot centered in your binding, you can turn it sideways and center it on board. Because it's a mini disc, it's really close together, and you can just basically almost get any stance width you want with a board, which is a huge advantage over, let's say, Burton Reflex discs that don't allow you to adjust tip to tail at all unless you're on a channel board.
Yeah.
And this has channel compatibility too. Not as good as Reflex or even better EST, but still very good. And we'd rather have this and the ability to ride all those other boards than just the ability to ride a few channel boards like EST. And just overall, I mean, this Strata and the Atlas are probably 2 of my most recommended bindings on our site. There are a lot of great companies out there that are doing a lot of great things, but this just always seems to be on the recommendation list, like with Burton and Solomon and all these other, Nitro, all these other great bindings out there. This is just one of those that...
This one just hits every check mark for me. Does it all so well, whereas like other bindings have like different little things that I may or may not like better,
Mm-hmm.
This is, for me, the most well-rounded binding that just does everything. When I add up the cumulative score, for me, this is my best binding.